Hello viewers, welcome to our segment of NerdOut called Here's the Deal. It's part where we actually take your questions because I like hearing the opinions and what other people of the comic book industry or the comic book world or science fiction nerds like myself have to say about these kinds of things. So the first part of our questionnaire comes from Patrick Fitzgerald Clausen. And it says, why do people hate Hawkeye? And why do people have such an important... Why does he have such an important part in Age of Ultron? I don't really know about people hating on Hawkeye. Every place I've went to and people I've talked about, about Hawkeye, I've never really got a bad response from them. In Jeremy Renner, I believe him saying in an interview, or at least some tabloid, I'm not sure if it's true because sometimes they just make up stuff, that he was disappointed in his role in the first Avengers, and he was like, oh, I was just a mindless zombie, and I didn't do much. And I say this again, I'll say it 1,000 times, bullshit. Because, yes, maybe you were being controlled by Loki, but you took out a fortress with an arrow. Now, arrows, not plural, an arrow. And not only did you take out a fortress with an arrow, then you destroyed their system with an arrow. Okay? Don't get me wrong, I like Steve Amell's The Arrow, right? But he hasn't taken out a fortress with one shot. Okay? Both the characters are nice, but there's a big difference between the epicness of what both characters have done. So I don't, and now for the second part of the question, him having a bigger role in the movie, which is good because a lot of people don't notice in Age of Ultron, not the movie, but the comic book, he did have an important role. He was more of the catalyst in that book, and he was able to basically rally everyone together after the world had been pretty much destroyed by Ultron. And he told Cap, look, you gotta get up, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you're not, then I'm gonna do it. You can sit down here and you can cry and you can moan, but I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna figure this out and I'm gonna try and see if I can save the world with my arrows. And because of his attitude, his go-to attitude, the story from that book ended up pretty well. So I believe he will be the forerunner in this movie. I'm not sure how much of a role he'll play, but I wouldn't mind seeing him save the day, but that would be pretty cool. But anyways, that's that. Next question comes from Prof. He says, why does DC suck at making movies, such as Superman and Batman? Why? DC sucks at making movies because they haven't got their ducks in a row. And what I mean by that is, Marvel doesn't exactly have the best track record either. Take a look at X-Men Last Stand, or Wolverine, Daredevil. I would say, what's another one? Hulk. Not the Edward Norton one, but the first one. Fantastic Four. All of them. The list goes on. And the reason why I'm mentioning is because Marvel, instead of taking the, I'm not sure I want to make this movie and spend all this money, they just said, screw it, they dived in and they started making movies. Now, a lot of them are bad, but now you look at it today, their movies are good. They have a better track record because they took their hits. DC isn't afraid to take their hits. Once DC takes their hits, their movies will get better. I believe they will, personally. And that's just how it works. When you're training and you want to become a boxer, you're not going to step into the ring all nice. You have to take your hits before you get better. DC has to take their hits. Now, will Batman vs. Superman be good? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Will I see it? Yes, I will, because I really don't have a preference towards Marvel or DC. But to answer your question, they need to stop being pansies, basically, and just say, fuck it, let's just do this and see what happens. And if it's bad, we know we can do better. That's how you get better. Next question comes from, David. He says, I know I'm really late, but is the Avengers Age of Ultron arc, is it a really good read? Yes, it is. And I hope I didn't spoil too much for you. Which I didn't spoil the end, But what he's referring to is the Age of Ultron, the book, and you can find it in paperback form. It's thick, the whole series is together. I bought into that before anyone even found out that, one, it was good, and two, that Kevin Feige, who's the director of most of Marvel's books, is going to become was going to be the title for the movie. It is a good read. It's short. I would say just get the series itself, because then they spin it off into something else. The artwork is trash, and it's just weird. It turns into something new. But I'm not talking about Age of Ultron, just the book. I'm talking about Ultron. It's just completely titled that span off from that series. The original series by itself, not the spin-off, is good. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money. And there's just moments in that book that happen that you're going to be like, wow, this is really good. Next question. Let's see. Why can't they get Superman right? That's a good question. And this happens a lot. Why doesn't the movie ever get right? Because he's an outlandish character. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, Superman defies the laws of physics. Yes, he's an alien, so you can kind of like pardon him having abilities, but his abilities are very outlandish. You're talking about a being who can float in space and not have to take a breath. You're talking about a character who can push a planet out the way. You're talking about a character who can fly to the sun, which can vaporize anything that's near it, but yet it doesn't vaporize him. He just absorbs the energy and sits there like a god in space. You're talking about a character who can close a black hole with his hands. A lot of people don't know that, but that's old Silver Age or Golden Age Superman. He's a very outlandish character. And DC hasn't gotten him right because they keep trying to focus too much on trying to make him real. That's the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel recognizes that some of these characters are outlandish, so they embrace it and then they own it. But they make the character real. Problem with DC is, they're like, oh man, this character's a little outlandish. Let's try and tone it down, let's try and do this and that and change it up a bit so maybe people can buy into it. Don't do that. Stop trying to change it up and then make it something else. Embrace what it is. When they embrace what Superman truly is, the book, the movies will be fine. But I believe, hopefully that'll answer your question, because I believe that's it. Marvel embraces the fact that Iron Man is outlandish and he says and does a bunch of crazy things. His suit do a whole bunch of crazy things. They incorporated it. Professor Xavier, broken. He can make people stop moving. And not just one, thousands of people. He can stop them from moving. He's an outlandishly broken character. Maybe he's crippled, but he's still outlandish. Magneto, another very outlandish character. He can just move metal. All of it. At any place, any time, and bend it, turn it into liquid, turn it into mercury. But they embraced that aspect. So to answer your question, DC has not gotten the Superman movie right because they don't know how to embrace their character's essence. Next question from David RT. Why is Booster Gold not a movie yet? Well, it's an inner secret joke, but for those of you who don't know, to answer this question in a technical and professional way, the reason why Booster Gold has not been made a movie yet is because he's a side character and he doesn't really have his own title. He hasn't had his own title since like 2009 or 10. Probably 2009. I think after the Flashpoint, he did not have his title anymore. But he hasn't become so important to the franchise of DC yet for him to have his own movie. I would like to see it. I think he's actually a pretty fun character. I think he's a comedian, to be real. But he's also very broken. He's got his abilities like super strength, flying, stuff like that, lasers, or photonic projection or something like that. But I wouldn't mind. I would actually pay to see a Booster Gold movie. I mean, if you could have an Ant-Man movie, you could have a Booster Gold movie. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. But the reason why they haven't gotten into that is because not enough people know about him. And let's be real, DC is too lazy. They focus on just two characters. And guess what those two characters are? Batman, Superman. To DC, no other character exists. Flash doesn't exist. Wonder Woman doesn't exist. Green Lantern doesn't exist, ish. Martian Manhunter doesn't exist. It's all about Batman and Superman. That's all anyone cares about. It's all anyone to ever know. They don't care about the importance of letting other people know about characters. Hopefully that will change. But to answer your question, they will not make a Booster Gold movie. You probably won't see that for a very long time. Well, that's it for the questions part of our show. And I would like to thank you for asking these questions and bringing your mind and letting us know what you think, how you think, and then try and answer them. I hope I can answer your questions the best way possible. So, as always, I'm your host, NerdOut, and live long, prosper. Have a good night.